then we had these architecture students from Germany who were working with us, and at the time we didn't have much work for them in the office. So I thought, oh well, I'll teach them how to use a radial arm saw and a drop saw and a nail gun, and they can come and do the logs. You know? And the morning before I went to pick them up to do the work, I was thinking, yeah, this is a pretty silly idea actually. You know, one of these girls is probably going to cut their finger off, or even worse, shoot themselves in the hand. And as soon as I'd done that, I'd shot myself in the hand with a nail gun. It was the first time. So, but they were incredibly, you know, as you can imagine, two Germans, they were incredibly ordered. So there's a whole lot of notes in German on all the studs, you know. And I didn't have the heart to tell them that they didn't have to measure to the 0.5 millimetre when they were cutting it. Then it evolved into, you know, a very simple sort of a structure. This was a particularly hard day because it was the day after St. Patrick's Day. This was a nice purchase. This was a radial arm saw that I used to basically cut all the windows. We built our own windows out of 2 bits of 90 by 20 sandwiching a 140 by 20, and I glued and screwed them together with Resorcinol, which is a boat building glue, and that you know. Then I went about making the windows, and I started with the smallest ones at the back of the house and moved forward into the bigger ones at the front. This was a particularly nice window. I don't know why I like that one so much. This was a very complex one. This took me weeks. And then we had 5 very strong people to try and lift that into place. I had that within 5 millimetres of being diagonal, so I was quite proud of that. And this was at the stage where people would walk past and stop and look in. And there was one guy who would have been in his 80s who used to walk around the block, and he'd stop and just stand at the top of the driveway and look in. And I'd wave out to him, he just walked, so then he'd carry off. And then one day he just walked onto the platform, and he goes, "What are you building?" I said, "Oh, building a home for my kids." And he goes, "No. I told my wife that you were building something to grow tomatoes in." Most of the community thought I was building a church. Then it came time to put the cladding up, and this is an aluminium weatherboard that I invented. It's the 4th board that I've done, and it's a very intriguing board that consists of holders, 45-degree zigzags at 5 millimetre increments over 161 millimetres. So if you're standing on the east, north or west looking at this thing, depending on where you looked at the cladding would appear to move. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Then this is Reese. He's the 3rd of the 3 wise men that helped me. He basically taught me how to use tools that weren't powered by electricity, and he even showed me some tools that I'd never heard of. One in particular was a butt gauge, which is a tool that measures the depth with which you recess a hinge into the leaf and then turn off right back into the frame. He's a particularly impressive man because in the 1970s he built his own boat his own yacht out of Kauri in the backyard in Papatoetoe, and then took off around the world and raised his family on it. So I thought, that's the man to speak to about waterproofing. This is Ekimo, the first of the 3 wise men, helping me do the staining of all the cedar. He was an absolute blessing. And this was probably one of the hardest jobs in the whole home. It was relaying this tile of flooring. I'll stop pointing the screen. Relaying this tile of flooring from an old warehouse that we'd pulled out of it. We didn't have any choice to use floor cramps again, so I had to make all these fox wedges up and compress the floor, and it just about killed me. We had a lot of parties in the house. When I think about it, if we hadn't had so many parties, I probably would have finished it in under a year. This is Ramana, my oldest boy's birthday party. You know, we used absolutely everything. You know, these boards here were protecting the tile flooring, and Mangere Mountain is a great backdrop for entertainment. Whilst it's very courageous what this woman is doing at the top of the image with her daughter, it's not that advisable. So we had wonderful parties. His mum, Rachel and Sean and baby Mila there, Lana and Pablo and big Mila, Finbar, he does a lot of damage to the wood now. then we sort of built these decks. We really started with the home and then realised how the decks would work around them afterwards. Cross-lease sections are quite dangerous if you've got a lot of toddlers. So this little concrete block on the right-hand side here was a prototype that I made with Dad, and I was going to use it to do a whole house once, and the client found out what I was doing. I didn't get the job. And these are the finished photographs. You can see that I didn't take these ones. Florence Noble took these for Home magazine, and this is the finished sort of product as it was submitted in the competition. This is taken from the footpath, the front fence. That's the front door there. This is taken from the cross-lease driveway. You can see the shutters there against the kitchen. I have 4 facing the west and 2 facing the east, depending on which way the wind goes. We don't have an extraction team, we just open up the shutter. That's the western courtyard with some furniture that I welded up. Carlos taught me how to weld, so that came out quite nicely. The front door on the right hand side there. This is the eastern courtyard where we had breakfast and lunch, and the bigger of the 2 sort of courtyards. There are no doors on the home. It's a very small home, and I thought doors might sort of unnecessarily complicate it. So we hung these very heavy crushed velvet curtains from England to act as the doors, and that makes for a very theatrical home, probably too theatrical. We used everything, bits of wood that were left over I made shelves with. That's our bedroom. The bunks were made from all the Kauri plywood that was left over, and the pine on the ceilings for the slats. And even the furniture. That chair in the middle there, I built that for Tim Finn to write music on, and it's a very long-winded story why that's now sitting in our room. But anyway, it's now the time-out chair, and it clearly doesn't work, because the other day I stuck Seamus in it, and I went up the hallway and I came back down. I said to him, "Are you ready to come out?" And he had his legs crossed and he was reading Curious George, and he asked me for a hot chocolate. This is probably the most intriguing part of the whole home. It's a very small bathroom lined with this outrageous marble. We did have in mind a much darker marble to go in here, but when we went out and found the stone, I was completely sort of taken with it. And we even built this bath here